The fall of Solomon, how did he lose everything? Have you ever wondered how the wisest king in history fell into ruin? Solomon, the ruler renowned for his unparalleled wisdom, built an empire of immense power and splendor. He was blessed with intelligence beyond measure, wealth beyond imagination, and divine favor. Yet, at the end of his life, he lost everything. How could a man so gifted, a king so wise, succumb to the very temptations he once warned against? If Solomon, the wisest of all, could not resist the lure of power and desire, what does that mean for the rest of us? His story is not just a historical tale, it is a warning, a lesson, and perhaps, a reflection of the struggles that exist in our own lives today. Before we uncover the hidden truths behind his downfall, make sure to subscribe to this channel. If you seek wisdom, history, and lessons from the past that still shape our present, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Solomon's rise and glory. Solomon's reign began with humility and devotion. When he ascended the throne after King David, he did not ask for wealth or power but for wisdom. Impressed by his selfless request, God granted him wisdom unlike any man before or after him. His judgments were fair, his leadership was admired, and his kingdom flourished. Under his rule, Israel experienced an era of unmatched prosperity. One of Solomon's greatest achievements was the construction of the Temple in Jerusalem, a monumental sanctuary dedicated to God. This temple stood as the heart of Israel's faith, a testament to his devotion and divine wisdom. His name became synonymous with justice, intellect, and righteousness. However, even the wisest of men are not immune to corruption. The very qualities that elevated Solomon, his intelligence, his success, and his influence, became the forces that led to his downfall. The first signs of decline. At the peak of his reign, Solomon began to drift away from the values that once defined him. He amassed incredible wealth, imposing heavy taxes on his people to fund his lavish projects. Gold flowed into his kingdom, and luxury became his lifestyle. Yet, with wealth came indulgence, and with indulgence came compromise. Solomon took hundreds of wives and concubines, many of them foreign princesses. These women brought with them their gods, their rituals, and their influence. Despite his devotion to the God of Israel, Solomon allowed the worship of foreign deities within his kingdom. Altars to pagan gods began to appear, standing in the very land once dedicated to the one true God. Power had changed him. The king who once sought wisdom above all else now sought pleasure, prestige, and control. He ignored the warnings of the prophets, dismissed the concerns of his people, and believed himself untouchable. But was he? A kingdom on the brink. As Solomon drifted further into indulgence and idolatry, cracks began to appear in his empire. The people, once devoted to their wise king, grew restless under the burden of heavy taxation and forced labor. The unity of Israel, which his father David had fought so hard to establish, began to fracture. Solomon, in his pursuit of wealth and power, had forgotten the very wisdom that once set him apart. He had allowed greed, desire, and arrogance to cloud his judgment. And as history would soon show, even the greatest kings are not immune to the consequences of their choices. But how exactly did it all come crashing down? What price did Solomon pay for his mistakes? Stay tuned for part 2, where we unravel the shocking end of Solomon's reign and the powerful lessons his downfall teaches us. Let me know in the comments, do you think wisdom alone is enough to protect someone from failure? Type 77 if you believe that true strength comes from more than just intelligence. The downfall of Solomon, what can we learn? Have you ever wondered how the wisest king in history made the greatest mistakes? If Solomon was blessed with divine wisdom, why did he fall? Could his story be a warning for all of us today? Imagine having unlimited wealth, influence over nations, and wisdom beyond measure. Would you be able to stay humble? Would power change you? Or would you, like Solomon, find yourself slowly drifting away from your values without even realizing it? Solomon's story is not just a tale from the past, it's a reflection of human nature. What if his fall holds a secret about our own weaknesses? Before we dive deeper into this mystery, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If history, wisdom, and spiritual insights interest you, you won't want to miss this journey. Why did Solomon make these mistakes? Solomon had everything. He built a kingdom unlike any before, ruled with intelligence beyond his years, and was favored by God. But something changed. What was it? Was it his desire for more? Was it the slow erosion of discipline? Or was it simply the curse of power itself? Do you believe that power always corrupts, or do you think there's a way to resist it? At first, Solomon remained devoted to God, but as his wealth grew, his focus shifted. He accumulated vast riches, built grand palaces, and took many wives. Some say it was political strategy, others say it was temptation. But can someone truly balance wisdom with indulgence? He married women from foreign nations, each bringing their own gods and traditions. Slowly, altars to false gods appeared in Israel. Did Solomon think he was too wise to fail? Did he believe that because of his intelligence, he could control the outcome? Or was he simply blinded by the very power he once feared? If the wisest man in history could be led astray, what does that mean for us? What does this mean for you? Could Solomon's mistakes be a warning for today's world? Are we also chasing wealth, power, and pleasure at the cost of our values? Have you ever seen someone start off humble and wise, only to become consumed by their own success? Do you believe that intelligence alone is enough to protect someone from downfall? Or does true wisdom require something deeper, perhaps discipline, humility, or faith? What would you have done in Solomon's place? Would you have resisted the temptation of wealth and influence, or do you think you would have fallen into the same traps? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Type 77 if you believe that true wisdom is about more than just intelligence, it's about how we choose to use it. The final days of Solomon, a legacy in ruins. What happens when a man who once held the world in his hands realizes he has lost everything? Did Solomon regret his choices? Did he see the destruction he had caused before it was too late? In his final years, Solomon's kingdom was no longer the paradise of wisdom and prosperity it once was. The people murmured against him, burdened by heavy taxes and forced labor. Enemies who once feared his power now saw the cracks in his empire. But the most painful consequence was not political, it was spiritual. Solomon had strayed so far from his devotion to God that his once unshakable connection to divine wisdom had weakened. The very God who had blessed him with unprecedented wisdom now stood against him. Was there a way back? Could he undo what had been done? Despite everything, Solomon seemed to recognize his mistakes in his later writings. In the book of Ecclesiastes, he reflects on his life, admitting that all his wealth, all his achievements, all his pleasures, were meaningless in the end. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity, he wrote, realizing that wisdom alone was not enough if it was not grounded in faith and humility. The lesson we must not forget. So, what can we take from Solomon's story? Does wisdom guarantee success, or is something even greater needed? If the wisest man in history could fall, what does that say about human nature? Could it be that no amount of intelligence, wealth, or power can replace the foundation of faith and humility? Think about your own life. Have you ever been so focused on success that you neglected what truly mattered? Have you ever made a choice that seemed right in the moment, only to realize later that it led you further from your values? Are we repeating the same mistakes Solomon made, believing we are too strong to fall? But here's the most important part, Solomon's story is a warning, not a prophecy. You are not bound to the same fate. Unlike Solomon, you have the power to recognize your path before it's too late. No matter how far you've strayed, you can always return to what truly matters. A call to action, choose wisdom today. You now know the rise and fall of Solomon. But knowledge means nothing without action. What will you do with this wisdom? If you believe that true success is more than just wealth and power, comment 77 below and let me know your thoughts. Do you think Solomon's fate could have been avoided? How do you apply his lessons to your own life? And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of discovering ancient wisdom and its relevance today. Let's learn from the past to create a wiser, stronger future together.